Silence. The consequences of lack of action and unspoken words. Silence is a multifaceted concept, however. For many people, it is simply a lack of sound. Sadly, as individuals and as society, we have failed to see that the concept is more than that. It can be used as an instrument for growth, or as a weapon to harm others, or even oneself. There are times when silence is the only answer people can offer to others in certain situations. For example, in times of despair or tragedy, one can express support to whoever is going through a difficult time by simply being there without uttering a single word. Other times, silence can be a sign of guilt or betrayal, while for many people it is simply an opportunity for growth and a path to self-discovery, a balm for their troubled minds. Obviously, silence or being silent can bear negative or positive consequences. It all depends on the context we apply it to. However, there are situations where the consequence of being silent doesn't simply bear negative or positive outcomes. It goes far beyond that. This is an ugly facet of silence that involves omission, disregard for human life, complicity, and above all, a betrayal of the moral values society very often claims to live by. The decomposition of the social fabric is so evident that day after day, people react as a silent witness to situations encountered on a daily basis. Society has got accustomed to being indifferent to injustices. The normalization of events that once seemed morally wrong has transformed society into a sort of bystander, whose silence in the face of injustice does nothing but empower the aggressor. There are times in life when being silent is not a choice, especially where there is social injustice, and when the injustice is out of proportion. That can be at a local, national, or at international level, from genocides to systematic oppression. Being silent in the face of evil is not a sign of neutrality, but on the contrary, it is a sign of complicity, a message of encouragement to the aggressor and a betrayal to moral human values, thus allowing injustice in all its meaning to flourish. Society's indifference in time of social oppression, genocide, and discrimination is nothing new. History books show us how society has kept silent and indifferent to events that have occurred throughout the years. The Holocaust is not the only example of indifference from people in the face of suffering and injustice in modern times. There is also the persecution of the Rohingya ethnic community in Myanmar, the Armenian genocide denial from some countries, and hundreds of other examples that have been all but forgotten by society in general. This brings us to the current situation in Palestine, where thousands of innocents have been massacred by a country that disguises its intentions by pretending to fight terrorism. It seems that the more people suffer and die, the less interested society is. The current conflicts are a concern, not only because of the ongoing violence and suffering, but also due to the apparent indifference and lack of an effective response from global leaders, both governmental and religious. There is notable criticism regarding leaders whose statements of condemnation seem insufficient, as well as religious authorities who emphasize spiritual practices without taking concrete action to address or challenge acts of aggression and harm against innocent individuals. And then there is a silent God, who seems to have abandoned to their fate those who supposedly were created in his own image. People offer prayers and thoughts. God apparently offers comfort. But it seems that very few people are interested in offering answers to conflicts and social injustice. In this sense, silence has become a weapon that only benefits the evildoer. The impact of remaining silent varies according to context. For certain individuals, silence may foster significant personal development. However, for those whose safety, liberty, survival, or well-being rely on societal advocacy in confronting injustice, silence can result in prolonged and detrimental consequences. The question is, how many more people will die before those in a position of power break their silence and do something to end the suffering?